This month, Brisbane is celebrating a landmark moment in the city's cultural life. 30 years ago, the curtain went up on the Queensland Performing Arts Complex, and QPAC, as it's known, transformed both the art scene in that state and the city, once known as a big country town. Louisa Rebgetz looks back at its history.
It was an enormous event, this centre. Her Majesty's Theatre had closed a few years before, so there was no theatre of any size here. There were street parades and free events and fireworks and all of that, and everybody wanted to come here.
It was 1985, and in a city yearning for art and culture, the Queensland Performing Arts Complex opened with great fanfare.
The people of Queensland, and indeed of Australia as a whole, will now have available to them the whole vast treasure house of the world's theatrical and musical heritage.
Commissioned by Premier Sir Joby Peterson in the 70s, QPAC was a $160 million investment in Brisbane's future.
There was such foresight when they decided to build this entire precinct and place it here on the other side of the river of Brisbane, which was effectively fairly derelict. Now, of course, it's really coming into its own.
The building was the brainchild of local architect Robin Gibson,
visually, there's a great deal of enjoyment in this building,
whose vision created the cultural precinct and changed the face of the city.
It is of its period. Technically, I suppose, it's new brutalism, which is about concrete. It doesn't mean it's brutish. But I think the thing that the building has proven to be is very versatile, that the actual design of the spaces in the building and how they work has absolutely stood the test of time.
The very first musical staged here was an audience favourite, The Pirates of Penzance.
That was so joyous for me because I could come home to my hometown with a show I already knew by then was a giant hit. It was a show that just lifted the roof off everywhere else. But when we got to Brisbane, it was even more so because they'd been so starved of entertainment for all of that time that they were absolutely ready for it.
3 decades on, Brisbane boy Simon Gallagher is back.
I'm a very old person in comparison to what I was 30 years ago. Twice as old and about twice my weight.
I will be wonderful.
Tonight he's playing the Wizard in Wicked, the latest musical in a long line of box office hits.
The first season of Phantom was extraordinary because it was a show that ran for 6 months, which was the first time anything had run quite that long.
We've actually shown how much the city has matured, and I think labels like being a country town or being a hick town are really a long, long way behind. When you look at the calibre of artists that now perform in Brisbane, the number of people that come.
Visitors from the Bolshoi now tread the same boards as a rejuvenated Queensland Ballet Company.
QPAC is a strange beast because it has to also balance the artistic and more cultural activities of the opera, the ballet and the theatre companies, the drama companies, alongside commercial product like Wicked. The great thing that QPAC also does now is fund new work and encourage new young artists.
Last year, the Newman government revealed controversial plans to revitalise the precinct. But changing political winds and a possible heritage listing mean the next 30 years are far from settled yet.
I can imagine a world where we have another 1,500 seat theatre on this South Bank precinct connected to QPAC as part of a bigger theatre district. The reality is that our culture and our people are changing, and I think great institutions like this one will change and reflect that with the growing society.